Hi, good evening, and welcome back to the funny place, where I post at funny times about my funny ideas with some very funny results. Here is your inspirational quote for this week. There is no answer that you cannot question. This is a very memorable quote that I made up on the spot a long time ago during a funny conversation with some friends, and it applies quite well to this week, as I seem to have encountered an existential threat to having this club established, and I'm really hoping that this isn't the end of this project. I know that sounds a little pessimistic, but bear with me. My goal, since filming the previous vlog, was to look into the responsibilities of running a club at my college and figure out what needs to be fulfilled far in advance of walking my happy little dum-dum self to the Office of Student Engagement to present this club. Our most recent student government president combined all of our club resources into a Google site for easy access, and I was able to learn a lot, such as minimum required executives for the club and their roles, minimum required scheduled meetings, events per session, collaborative events, attendance of the faculty sponsor, requesting budgets, etc., and requesting having other people come to campus. A lot of interesting stuff. But they additionally had a sample club constitution, on which most of the existing club constitutions right now are based. This is where I encountered the aforementioned existential threat. One of the articles of the sample constitution states that all exec members must be in good academic standing with the college, and when I had last read what that entailed on a campus job description, it said it required a minimum GPA of 3.0. To get a little bit personal for a minute, my GPA at college falls just short of that. While it's true that this club could certainly take off without me at the helm, I would have done my part with the goals I've set up here and let them do the rest. I would trust them. My worry is that this is a lot to be asking of potentially four to five other people to essentially run this club without me, especially considering that most of the people I have on board for this already are seniors. One of my next goals already is to start directly communicating with the coordinator of student engagement far in advance on how to go about this club founding process smoothly and efficiently. And yes, that's separate from this goal, which is just to learn, but it'd be a separate one with a more personal touch to it, which is different. And then And so now I want to put that question at the front and center of that goal when that comes. But for now, I'd rather keep the goals simple for the short term, because I've got something coming up very soon that my dad's told me about, signed me up for, that I think could really help with this club. An introductory woodworking class. You might remember from some of my previous vlogs that I've been collecting wood from my job at college to fashion into training swords, and I still plan to continue with that. I brought all the wood that I had home with me and have slowly, gradually been cutting them into individual square base sticks, square shape base sticks, however you say it, that can be more easily filed into a fully cylindrical blade. I've come up with a bit of a system for it recently. I've been taking the 1x4s, which are flatter but can be cut into more shapes. They can be cut into 3 square-based sticks, and they are a lot more brittle, but as I previously said, can be filed into cylindrical shapes much, much more easily than a rectangular-based whatever would. And so what I plan to do with those is I plan to make the brittle ones basically take-home sabers that members of the club can take home, practice swinging around, and especially for getting to dueling very early on, I'd like them to practice with brittle sticks just for the sake of being careful and being gentle with your partners. I think that is very, very important. Just for people's comfort level firsthand, and second, I don't have any particularly bad feelings about like any potential members just getting a little blade happy and just whacking away. But it just doesn't hurt to have that as a backup. And also, people get to take home something physical, which I think would be very, very nice. Um, and so that's that. But back to my main goal for next week: the wood. Learn more about the wood, cut the wood, file the wood, start refining hilts if you feel fancy, if I feel fancy, but get back into the swing of making training sabers. It's been a little bit since I last got my hands dirty with all this, but it shouldn't be a problem as long as I stick to it. Um, I actually, just a couple days ago, me and my dad tried something new. We went behind my neighbors' houses where there's a lot of invasive bamboo growing, and we cut down a lot of the baby bamboo trees, and we gathered those in a bundle and made kendo sticks. We basically just made at-home kendo practice swords, and they work very well. They work just fine. I think if we can make a decent handful of those, I can send those home with people for more intense dueling practice if people feel like actually going to whack each other. And I think being handed a limited number, passing around a limited number of swords is a level of commitment to whacking each other that I think will work very well for consent in terms of whatever, however that sequence of words makes sense. You should be familiar with this by now, boo. The way that I word things is weird, but yeah. Oh, and another thing, I have some other dimensional lumber that's like a tiny bit thicker that I think could take a little bit more of a beating, and so that could be also be a backup for slightly more aggressive dueling as we progress. And I think that'll just be nice. I know, as long as I stick to this consistently, which I think I'll actually be quite excited about getting back to doing, I can do this. And so can you, and so can we. I'm very happy to be filming shorter vlogs again. I think this will be much, much easier to keep up with. Thank you for your time. I will see you soon.